Okay, first of all, don't forget, as soon as you come home tonight, you have to do b'dikas chametz. You're not allowed to eat a meal or basically do anything until you check for the chametz. Before we continue, I just want to say two very interesting questions I had today. I will not tell you what the answer is. If you're bored, you'll work on it and see if you can come up with an answer. In Ukraine, as everybody knows, there's a war going on. In Ukraine, there's a war. You know there's a war, Russia, Ukraine? Anyway, so the shliach from Kharkov called me and he said, night doesn't begin until 8:15. The problem is 9:15, there's a curfew. That means everybody has to be home by 9:15 or leave to home 9:15, whatever. So the question, well, how do you do the Seder? What are you going to do? Like, what do you do? You can't make Kiddush earlier, especially because there's Havdalah also. It's a very interesting scenario what to do. Second question was, there's two Merkei Shluchim in a remote area in Brazil. They went for Pesach to a remote area in Brazil to make a Seder. The problem is where they are, there's absolutely no horseradish, no romaine lettuce, no endives, all the possible things that you need for Maror, they don't have, they can't get. So he said to him, first of all, I said to him, understand, why before they left, why didn't they go with it? He said, listen, I just got involved now, I just got here now, I don't know anything, but what do we do? Anyway, so they're going to try to get him stuff anyway, but it's a third issue. One, the guy called me tonight already, by there in out east, it's 3 hours ahead, so he put down 9 pieces of bread, and he put down 10 and only found 9. And he knows the place where he put the 10th piece of bread, it's not there. So what does he do? A lady called me 2 nights ago, a shlucha, her husband was out of town, and she thought she'd be helpful. So she already put out the 10 pieces of bread. 2 nights ago. Thought she'd help her husband to put out the bread. The problem is, after she put out 10 pieces of bread, she only found 9. So again, so I told her, okay, you know what, by the time your husband comes home for B'dikas Chametz, hopefully you'll find the 10th piece of bread. Okay, that's some stories that happened. Okay, let's get back here. So yesterday we finished with the Maror, in fact. Okay, the Meitzi Matzah, Maror, and now we come to Kairach. Okay, so we said, people are not so careful, but halacha says that the bracha that you make al achilas matzah also goes on the kairach and the afikaimen. So there are opinions in halacha that say you shouldn't talk from meitzi matzah to afikaimen. But the Rebbe writes as a chumrah said we don't do this, but if possible, we should try not to talk too much out of things pertaining to the matzah and maror until we eat the kairach. So you have meitzi matzah, maror, and now you come to kairach. What's the union of kairach? Kairach is as it's known, they're called the first Campbell sandwich that ever existed. But it was a big machlekes between Hillel and the Chachamim, because when the Torah speaks about eating matzah and maror, the Torah says, "Al matzah simreim yachluhu." You have to eat the korban Pesach together with matzah and maror. So the Chacham said, yeah, you eat the matzah, then the maror, then the korban Pesach or whatever. And Hillel said, no, al matzah simreim yachluhu. The Torah says you have to eat kairach together with the matzah, together with the korban Pesach, together with the maror. So according to Hillel, how did you eat kairach? In fact, he didn't do meitzi matzah and maror like that. What Hillel did was he had matzah, korban Pesach with horseradish or lettuce, whatever they used in those days for kairach, and that's how he did the mitzvah. So because Hillel was who he was, and it's Kabbalistic in Yonim of the kairach, so not only do we do meitzi matzah and maror, but now we do maror and kairach together. So the chareisis, by the mitzvah of maror, you dip maror in the chareisis. We said yesterday you make it a little bit wet with the wine. Because we're very extremely crazy about not getting the matzah wet. So for kairach, what we do is we take dry chareisis, put a little bit on top of the maror, and we shake it off. So basically, there's very little chareisis.
Why do you shake it?
We shake it off.
Oh, it's
shake the chareset that you put on the mortar, you shake off. Because we don't want to get the matzah wet. Okay, so that's Kairach. Kairach you also have to eat reclining. Kairach al Pi Din, you could be more lenient with the shear of matzah because it's not the mitzvah min ha-Torah. So they're machmir really for achilas matzah and if possible for afikomen. But even afikomen, they're also much more mekel than they are for meitzi matzah. So it's again, because Kairach is only a concept with Rabbanon to do. It's not the mitzvah min ha-Torah. Then you have Shulchan Aruch, which is the meal. Now, Chabad custom is we start the meal by eating the hard-boiled egg from the Seder plate dipped into salt water. That's the way our minhag is to start the Seder. You don't have to eat a whole egg if you don't want. Our minhag is you take the egg, you dip it into salt water, and you eat. That's the way we start the meal before the fish or whatever else you're eating.
Well, isn't the reason why we have the egg is to make sure that we are full, after we are really fully full, we eat also the egg?
There's two reasons why we eat the egg. In halacha, there's two reasons why we eat the egg. The Alter Rebbe brings down the reason because of Avelis, to remind us that we don't have a Beis HaMikdash. Other places it says also that Zecher for the Korban Chagiga. Because on Pesach, the main meal was not the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach and the Nechal Seva. What they did, they ate a whole meal, okay, with the meat of the Korban Chagiga, the shlomim that they brought for Yom Tiv. At the end of the meal, when they're what we now call afikomen, at the end of the meal, they would eat a kazayis of the Korban Pesach. They didn't get full from the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach was eaten when you're almost full and you tapped it, you rounded it off, so to speak, with the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach was eaten at the end of the meal. But there's different reasons why we eat the egg. One is because we remind us like a mourner eats an egg because the egg is round, like lentils, no? The egg is round and the oval has no mouth. But that's the Korban Chagiga also. Yeah.
That's why whenever the first night of Pesach falls on whatever weekday, that's when Shabbat.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, this Plag, and there's a lot of different, Purim is the same day as Lag Ba'omer. So this year Purim is Friday, Lag Ba'omer is going to be Friday. There's a lot of dates that, what? Oh.
A lot of patterns.
Yes. Okay, anyway, Shulchan Aruch. Now during Shulchan Aruch, you're allowed to drink wine. Like this, normally, you're not allowed to add on to the cups. There's 4 cups, you're not allowed to drink. So between first cup and second cup, you're not allowed to drink wine. Between the third and the fourth, you're not allowed to drink wine. After the fourth, you're not allowed to drink wine. But between 2 and 3, meaning during the time that you're eating the meal, then if you want, you can drink wine. Okay? What's interesting, the Rebbe had an interesting custom though, when he drank wine during the meal on Pesach, he didn't say l'chaim on the wine. He said he doesn't want to give credence that it should be considered something prominent because there's 4 cups and that's it. What? No. No, the Rebbe ate upstairs for many, many years. His mother-in-law's house with 1 million of people. That's if you drink alcohol on Pesach. Okay. Anyway, so then, again, in Chabad custom, we're very careful not to get the matzah wet, eat in plastic bags or whatever is practical not to get the matzah wet. At the end of the meal, that's when you eat afikomen. So there's, again, 2 opinions in halacha. How much matzah do you need to eat for the afikomen? So many people say 1 kazayis. The afikomen is a reminder of the Korban Pesach. But Shulchan Aruch brings down, there's a second opinion that says you should eat 2 kazayisim of matzah. Just like meitzi matzah, we ate 2, because we don't know if it's from the top or the middle. So the same thing by afikomen, you eat 2. Why? Because 1 afikomen is for the Korban Pesach, and then for the matzah eaten together with the Korban Pesach. So Shulchan Aruch brings down, there are customs that many people have 2 kazayisim for the afikomen. Halachically, you need 1. Bottom line, halacha, you need 1, but some people have a minhag of eating 2.
If you're afraid of
mixing water with matzah, that means a matzah was never completely baked. If it was never, this is the problem I have.
Okay, we're not talking about geblocks now, though. Let's leave the geblocks out.
So if the Afikaim, the two Kazaysim is not only here to Seder plate.
The two kazaysim for Afikaim has nothing to do with the Seder plate, correct?
Say it again?
We said that those opinions that say you should eat two kazaysim for the Afikaim has nothing to do with if you have a Seder plate or not. Yesterday we discussed why do you need two kazaysim, because it's an argument if you take it from the top one or from the middle one. So therefore, Poskim right, you do both. But so if you don't have a Seder plate, then there's not even a reason why you would need two. But for the Afikaim, if that's the reason, yeah, but the minhag olam is that women especially, they only eat one. What?
Are you referring to the one that goes around, or each one Seder plates for each person?
I'm saying if you don't have your own personal Seder plate, then, okay. Now after the Afikaim, it says in halacha, you're ideally not supposed to drink or eat anything. And halacha is mentioned even preferably not even water, even though the halacha water, our meaning is not to drink even water except the 2 cups of wine until you go to sleep. That's it. So after you finish the last 2 cups of wine, no eating, no drinking until you go to sleep. Some people have a minute of saying shir hashirim. We were discussing with somebody yesterday. Some people have, the Rebbe's father used to say shir hashirim, but in our circles, Chabad doesn't say shir hashirim. Not only that, after benching, you have opening the door for Shvei Chamascha, for Aliyah Navi. So now the question is, when do you fill up Kais Shel Eliyahu? So Chabad custom really changed over the years. It used to be that after benching, they would fill up Kais Shel Eliyahu. That's what most people do. In fact, in the Alter Rebbe's Haggadah, it says you fill up the cost after benching. And that's what used to happen most of the time. Sometimes by the Rebbeim, they did it before something. But in the later years, the Rebbe always did it before, and that was the minhag became in Chabad, that we fill up the cup of Aliyah Navi before benching. Before benching, by benching it's already on the table. Now you open the door for Aliyah Navi, if it's not Shabbos, because Shabbos, you open up the door for Aliyah Navi, but we take candles to the door. If you can't take, if it's Shabbos, then Friday night, then you can't, because Shabbos you can't move candles. So you open the door for Aliyah Navi, you say Shvei Chamascha. Now, what?
This year it's not Friday.
I know. I didn't say it is Friday night this year. It's Saturday night this year. So, but what's interesting about the Halal, that we say half Halal before, right? 2 chapters of Halal, Halaluka and B'Seis Yisrael before the second cup, and then the rest we say after the third cup. Now, generally speaking, the Seder is divided into 2 parts. There's the Seder until benching, that has to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim. Benching to the end, that already has to do with Mashiach. Okay? That has to do with Aliyah Navi, opening the door for Aliyah Navi, that has to do with the concept of Mashiach, the Halal. So you have to finish Halal, even it's interesting uniqueness about Halal. Normally, halachically, you have to stand when you say Halal. Halachah Shchunar, you stand when you say Halal, you have to stand. But Pesach night, you say it sitting. Normally, you don't cut Halal into half. You say half Halal, but you don't cut Halal into half. Here at Pesach night, you say, that's why you don't make a bracha on the Halal to Seder, because it's divided. You have 2 chapters before and 2 chapters, the rest of it afterwards. So then you have, finish up the Seder. Halal Nirtzah, then you drink the 4th cup of wine. Now, in the most places, I don't know what the custom is, but most places, they have a lot of songs at the end. Echad Miyadeya, Chad Gadya, Yibana, whatever over there, Yibana Mishka, Yibana, I don't know. Anyway, Chabad, we don't say all that stuff. In Chabad, we don't even, in the normal Jews, they finish the Seder by saying Chasal Seder Pesach. That means the Seder Pesach is over, Chasal Seder Pesach, and we kill Choseh, we did it right, and now we're asking Hashem, help. But in Chabad we don't say Chasal Seder Pesach. And the Alter Rebbe said the reason is because the Pesach Seder never ends. We don't say Chagad either. Because we don't deal with goats. What? Shema.
You only shafted.
After. So if you daven Ma'ariv in the Zman, in the proper time, for Krish Malamita the first night, we only say the 3 chapters of Shema. That's it. Nothing before, nothing after. If you, halachically, you say, 1 chapter of just the Shema. In our circles, we say all 3. But if somebody daven, let's say, Ma'ariv early, then they should say all 3 chapters of Shema.
What time do you typically finish in your circle?
What?
What time do you finish the Seder in your circle, typically?
In your circles.
What difference does it make?
Oh my God, what question?
We try to eat Afikaim the first night before Chatzos. Second night, we're not so makbid, even though most of the years the Rebbe was makbid. But officially in our garden, the Rebbe writes we're not makbid the second night. The first night, we are makbid, and the first night is 12:54. What? If you daven Ma'ariv early before the Zman Krishma, so then by Krishma you say all 3 chapters. That's basically it. Okay. By the way, don't forget tonight, go do B'dikas Chametz and Bittul Chametz, and tomorrow morning there's no Siyum, but there is the 13th day, Zeischun Katsabayis for the Nasi, and tomorrow you should sell the chametz, burn the chametz the regular time, generally speaking, and that's it for now.